Central Minnesota Sports Hub. It's the Morning Sports Desk, presented by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and streaming on YouTube.
It is the Morning Sports Desk on a Tuesday, the 1st of April, and we're not fooling you. We are here. I'm CJ Baumgartner. That's Corey Tackman. Corey, you missed yesterday's show, but really the biggest thing with the Morning Sports Desk powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade is not a lot of good vibes with Minnesota sports right now.
They stink. I mean, actually, they've probably been more unlucky than anything else, at least offensively speaking. You know, they're giving up, a baker's dozen a game? Like, they're giving up a ton of runs. I did see that they're fourth in the league in barrel rate.
Yep.
And 28th in the league on
batting average on balls in play or something.
Yeah. So that is a huge indicator that they've just been very unlucky. Extremely unlucky. They're the fourth best team at squaring up baseballs and the third worst team in having those hard hit balls pan out. Mm-hmm. So that's unlucky. They're also giving up 9 runs a game.
Yeah.
Actually, I mean, what's the actual number? 5?
If you look at the Twins' exit velocity, the average exit velocity, the Twins right now are sitting at 16th in baseball with an 88.8, which is roughly around league average. League average is like 80 something percent. So they're sitting at about league average with their exit velocity. If you look at their hard hit percentage, which is balls hit over 95 plus miles an hour, the Twins are at 19th with a 38.6 rate. And like you said, in the barrels per batted ball event, the Twins are sitting 15th right now. So that's barreling up on a ball that ends up going in play, basically, or a batted ball event, whatever. It was put in play.
Yeah.
Basically to say that, yeah, this has been kind of strange. It's not that they've been it's been a little more unlucky than, this is 2024. Why does it not have 2025 updated? That is so weird. Good job, Baseball Savant.
But yeah, they've been unlucky offensively speaking.
2024, my bad.
I think that's very fair. And it's whatever. They're 4 games into the season. It's not like it's the end of the world.
Right. But still, it's just one of those where it's like when the team hasn't won a game yet and coming off of the miserable end of last year to off season to roll out of MLB.TV and the Twins TV deal. And to this, they have not looked sharp. They've not looked even there have not been entertaining baseball games, Corey, except for the first game of the year, which was fun. The rest of them have been stinkers. All of them. Like, I tried to watch Sunday. I shut it off after the 3rd inning. They got down like 7-0. It's like, I'm going to go watch the final. I'm going to go watch Elite 8. Like,
have you ever seen that, by the way? Like, they pulled starters like it was a basketball game.
Like it was a message of like that's clearly done. It's done. One is we're pulling our guys to not get them hurt in a meaningless game. And it's another of like, it's kind of a way of like, we're yanking everybody is like trying to send a message of like, we can't be doing this right now. And it's weird. We talk about, the joke is that when the team loses their first game and starts the year 0-1, it's tomorrow's a must-win game for the boys. But has there ever been a more must-win game in Game 5 of the season?
I'm not quite willing to say that, but here's what I will say. You can come back from being 0-4 in the first 4 games of the year. Like it's
not ideal, but you can overcome it.
You can totally overcome when there's 158 games left in the regular season. That is something that you can easily overcome.
How about starting 0-9?
But here's the other thing. You now have to win 4 in a row just to get back to 500.
Right.
To then give yourself a fighting chance. Right. You have to win 4 in a row to put yourself back in the place to have a fighting chance. I can't remember what year it was now. I'm not good at remembering this sort of thing, but it wasn't that long ago that the Twins started 0-11.
2016.
You can't start like 0-11. It's done. Your summer's over. You can't come back from 11 games down. That's basically like, you're obviously not mathematically eliminated, but it is impossible. Improbable. They're not far away from that, right? Yeah. Like 0-11 is a week away. That's all it is. You can't, if you start by getting swept in the first 2 series of the year, start 0-6,
and it's, by the way, it's not just starting 0-6. Getting swept by the Cardinals, not ideal. You're a better team than the Cardinals, but you looked miserable in that series. Losing 2 out of 3 to the White Sox, who had a worse year than you did and a worse offseason than you did.
Not even a worse year. They had the worst year in the history of the game.
And did nothing to get better. In fact, it actively got worse. You let Martin Perez no-hit you through 6 innings. Martin Perez.
Yeah, it's not great. This is not you wouldn't call this the ideal start.
No, and I understand. Royce Lewis is hurt. Brooks Lee is hurt. That's fine. You still have Buxton in the lineup who hasn't done anything. You still have Correa in the lineup who hasn't done anything. You have, by the way, Jose Miranda, who has had a couple balls that he squared up nicely, but has done a lot of the things that have gotten Jose Miranda in trouble, which is having no approach at the plate and swinging at bad pitches. And there have been at-bats where he takes strike 1 right down the middle and then swings at a pitch outside the zone and hits a weak grounder to third and rolls it over. And he gets in those habits, and you're going to see a lot of Jose Miranda. You haven't seen a lot of Ed Julian. Apparently he's had a stomach bug, which is why he hasn't played a lot of the first few games of the year, the same one that Bailey Ober had. But the whole thing is this team is a little bit of a mess right now, and nobody has really been able to pull them out of it. I know Wallner squared up a couple baseballs, but it's just not looking great right now. And I know the torpedo bats have been all the rage, and somebody said the Twins should start using them. Corey, what's your response to that?
They have been and haven't done anything.
Ryan Jeffers has been using them
all season. He didn't use it in the first game. I don't know. Ryan Jeffers has been using the torpedo bat. It's not working for the Twins.
Ryan Jeffers in the 2025 season has 12 plate appearances with, if we look, he has 12 plate appearances, 2 hits for a 200 average, 2 singles.
Good. I want to be very clear about this. It's probably going to be fine.
The division isn't going to be that good this year.
CJ, we're 4 games into 162. That's not, this right. This is by no means, I am fully willing to embrace and I understand that I am living in the moment deeply because I need them to show me any sign of life. I need to be emotional about how this is early because of how poorly it ended late a year ago. I need that team to show me that they have any sign of life at all. I just need it. I need them to prove it to me because it's not been good. I understand that really you should be looking this like we do football a week at a time. And by the time we get to Monday, could the Twins have won more games this week than they lost? Absolutely. And if you look at a season that way and you consider a winning the week, being 1-0 at the end of the week, just like in football, we're still it's fine. It's fine. But man, oh man, the team that we saw at the end of last year is the team that is showing up at the beginning of this year, and that is depressing.
Yep. By the way, I did find some updated numbers here in 2025. For barrel percentage, the Twins are top 10. They are 9.6% barrel rate, which puts them at 11th in the league. Their exit velocity, how hard the ball is leaving their bat, 89.2 miles per hour. So a little bit above league average from a year ago. Currently, they sit 17th in there. Their hard hit percentage is 16th. So their offense, if you look at slugging percentage, is 29th rather. Their average as a team sits 30th. But that's the actual bases the teams are getting. If you're looking at the underlying numbers of how hard they're hitting the ball, their launch angle is 14th. If you kind of look at that aspect of it, their it's a little less skewed. The Twins' ground ball percentage. The Twins right now are top 10 in hitting ground balls, which is not what you want out of a Major League Baseball team. They're getting contact at a fine rate. Their problem is that they're hitting it on the ground. And in baseball, in Major League Baseball, hitting the ball on the ground isn't out. You want to hit a line drive, as you want to do in any league. And that's maybe the biggest thing. But this also doesn't help when your pitching staff's giving up home runs like it's no tomorrow.
Well, and can we continue the ride on the pessimistic train here for just one more brief?
I don't see any reason why we need to not.
It's not like, I know it's really easy to be like, CJ, Corey, chill out. It's 4 games and it's 162 game season. I understand that. Name me 2 Twins players who absolutely raked during spring training. Name me the stories out of spring training where it was like, oh my gosh, Byron Buxton looks healthier and is swinging it better than he ever has in his entire career.
He did look good in the final couple weeks of spring training. But
find me the Carlos Correa that I was seeing during spring training. Like, we need to relax on the Carlos Correa stuff because his numbers during spring training were terrible, but they were like, this is actually like a bad week. If you look at the culmination of all of those spring training numbers, it's a bad week of baseball, which you're allowed to have. Okay, that's fine. But he had 6 weeks of spring training baseball, and now 4 games into the regular season, this is 2 bad weeks in a row of bad baseball from Carlos Correa in the culmination of all of these numbers. Where was the positive story out of spring training about anything that was happening? Oh my gosh, Ed Julian seems to have turned a corner. Look out, Jose Miranda has really settled into what it means to be a pro at the major league level each and every single day. Boy, I tell you what, that Bailey Ober, he found a different gear in the offseason and even as a third pitch that is going to make him a bona fide. Where are any of those stories from spring training, CJ?
There's not.
There isn't one. And
their biggest story of the spring training was that Royce Lewis was hurt again.
Correct. That's it. There was no propaganda at all. You know, the Vikings are putting out nothing but propaganda, throwing heat about what JJ McCarthy is going to mean to this team and how no one has a stronger arm and we can't wait to work with him. And like, they can't shut up about JJ McCarthy, the Vikings. The Twins are doing nothing about it. Like, there's nothing that's like, well, at least this. There's nothing right now.
There is not at all. But there is news on the Twins front. With you want some good news, and this is a little tongue in cheek. The good news is that for people who didn't want to pay the Twins TV and the people who bought the Twins TV, and it still said that you're blacked out. Good job, Major League Baseball. Or if it's not on your local cable package, thanks to YouTube TV and Major League Baseball for doing this again. The Twins are at least going to be on local television at certain points this season. They announced earlier today that the Minnesota Twins, Fox 9, and Gray Media announced a 10-game free over-the-air television package. The first game will be against the Mets on April 15th, then April 22nd against the White Sox, the Orioles on May 6th, Guardians on May 20th, so on and so forth. Basically, roughly 2 games a month throughout the regular season, the Twins are going to be on Fox 9. I don't have the days of the week off the top of my head. My guess is they're probably aiming for, the 15th is a Tuesday of April, the 22nd. So like some Tuesday night games in the middle of the week, because Fox has the national games on Saturdays, so they can't obviously air on Saturdays. But basically just like a Tuesday night Twins baseball on Fox 9.
So a couple of things here that are important, in my opinion, in my estimation. First of all, if you don't watch the morning sports desk on YouTube, you need to, because you'll also see to the right of the schedule, somebody says, if the owners don't care about us, why should we care about you? That's pretty funny. That makes me feel happy. 16 games is 1/16 of the season.
Yep.
So
now
anyway.
it's better than nothing, but it's still a 16th of the season.
Sure, but like, I mean, stepping in dog poop in your socks is better than stepping in dog poop in bare feet, but you still got to clean it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, of the 16 games that are going to be provided for free, 2 of them feature the Chicago White Sox, who, despite their start to the season, everyone still believes is a 100-loss baseball team. So congratulations, Twins fans. You get to watch your very bad Minnesota Twins take on an even worse Chicago White Sox team for an eighth of the games.
Yeah, well, at least I'd say they win those games, but they lost to the White Sox yesterday. So
another one of those teams is the A's, and the A's are just lucky that the White Sox existed over the like. I get the Yankees and Boston and the Cup, like those are fun. The Mets, that's the first game, but like this is not. I hope they don't think this is solving any problems.
No, this is just kind of my hope is that this is just kind of here. We're making an attempt to get it out here. Whatever. Yeah.
They can make an attempt as long as they understand that it's like I can make an attempt at Halloween to pass out goodies for the kids who come to my house. But if what I'm passing out is a used toothbrush, what good is that doing anybody?
Yeah. And I think from their perspective, it's probably going to be like, hey, we give 10 games out here. It's over the air. It's free. It can be kind of a thing of like, hey, Tuesday nights, Twins baseball is on Fox 9, and you're going to have the local media. They're going to run promo for it. And then my guess is the thought is like, they're going to see this, and then hopefully that'll get people, one, to just watch the team. It's going to hold over for the people who aren't going to pay for it. But theoretically, it's probably an ad in a way of, watch these games, then be like, well, this team is good. I got to pay, the whatever money it is to get MLB.TV or something like that.
Just like blackouts work to get people to watch them in the first place too.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, the games that's the also hope is if the team is good and you get them over the air even a little bit, it's going to motivate people to go to, that was like you said, people thought, well, if blackouts are there, then people are going to have no choice but to go to the game. Where in fact, it was the opposite. When the team wasn't on any television screens, nobody cares.
So let's create a non-habit forming schedule of one game every other week throughout the summer. That'll get people to
get up. I mean, what are they supposed to do? I don't at that point. It's
available, CJ.
I know that
it's available.
It's a lot of Major League Baseball that they're dealing with too, because they have to. Like, they're not going to put the whole game on. They're not going to put the whole season on Fox 9.
Listen, I understand that that this is a bigger problem than just the Twins. I get it. This is not it.
No, it's not doing it. It's not going to heal anything. It's just, it's better than nothing. And that's how low the bar is set, which is depressing.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. It's depressing.
Like I played for, like we ended up having for Zeke yesterday while he was on here trying to talk about the Twins. We were every time we were trying to get his spirits up, all it basically ended up was just this. Twins baseball.
I mean,
experience the magic.
They probably will win a game.
Well, I mean, I hope so.
It doesn't say every time we're going to win, Twins. We're going to score. Watch that. It doesn't guarantee every time. They probably will win a game.
Yeah. Statistically speaking, they got 162 attempts. Somebody put a picture on Twitter of them like as a kid, and they're like, TC Bear. I wish I could go back in time to tell 5-year-old me hugging TC Bear that the Twins were going to go 162-0 in 2025. And then yesterday it was, I wish I could go back to myself 5 days ago and tell myself the Twins are going to go 0-162 in 2025. I mean, remember in 2016, that team was expected to be good too. They were expecting the team to at least be competitive.
Year before, I think, didn't they?
They had a 500 record, I think, or like they were maybe 80 and 82. But it was like the first competent baseball season in almost a decade. And they were ready to roll. And then they started 0-11, and then they fired Terry Ryan. And Paul Molitor probably should have been fired to clean house, but like the whole point is like it was such a bad season, it got everybody canned.
Yeah. No, it's this is I don't like this. And I said I was coming into the season more pessimistic about the Twins this year than I probably ever have been. But I've also been, I think, maybe I'm being overly critical, but like I do think the Twins can win the division. Like let's pretend the season hasn't started yet. I have been very consistent on this, where I think the Twins can win the division, and 88 wins is not enough to make me feel good about it.
Right.
I still stand on that. I don't care if you win the division and win 86 to 88 games. That's not good enough. I don't know what the fix is other than stop sucking. I'm not here to offer that. I am here purely on fandom and fandom emotion only. This sucks.
I simply would just have gotten the players that would hit the baseball, but that's just me.
If it were up to me, I'd start winning and stop losing.
If it were up to me, I would sign pitchers that didn't give up meatballs. I mean, watching Ober pitch, and I understand he wasn't feeling the best. Doesn't matter. He still was out there in a big league game. And then with Paddock yesterday, Paddock was the shakiest option in the rotation. He always was coming into the year. The Twins weren't going to trade him because they felt like there was value there. And maybe there is. It's a long season. But Chris Paddock probably should have been moved to the bullpen over the winter, and they gave him one last shot in the rotation because he's a veteran, and they wanted to see what he can do and depth and whatever. Nothing about Chris Paddock has instilled confidence in me since he became a Twin. He came here in the Taylor Rogers trade, remember? And he was the piece of like, he may not be flashy, but like he is a nice middle of the rotation starter under team control. And you're like, okay, I can see that logic. The problem is he hasn't been healthy, and he just hasn't been that good over the course of his Twins career. And there's a good chance by the All-Star break that he's either hurt or he's in the bullpen, and we have David Festa taking his spot in the starting rotation.
This is this is a long list of casualties for the Twins in their entire, like, name a guy who's ever where this has ever like worked out for this like specific pitching spot in the rotation. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It wasn't good when it was Rick Reed. It was like, this is just a spot that doesn't ever work out. Maybe it doesn't work out for any team. And I'm a selfish Twins fan and I only care about the Twins. This is a long list of casualties in this spot in the Twins organizational history of trying to fill a spot. It just is not, it's just not a spot that works out.
No.
But he's a 4-starter. 4-starters are not supposed to work out.
No, if you have a 4-starter with the ERA of like 3.5 or less, he's not going to be a 4-starter much longer. He's going to go and hit free agency and go sign with the team to be their 2-starter. Like,
yep. Yeah. No, the thing that makes me early mad about Paddock is like, it's not working out. And then he's going to go to the Pirates and be just like Atlanta or something like that. And just be their bona fide number 2 for 3 straight seasons. What the hell? Why does this always happen?
Sometimes his arm, and maybe he's a better pitcher if his arm doesn't keep falling off. But the problem is his arm keeps falling off.
Aren't we all better pitchers if our arms stay connected?
Theoretically. But, it just it throws the hitter off if you really just have the whole arm go with the baseball towards the plate.
Anyway, I still have the Twins winning the division.
Yeah. Go Twins. All right, moving to the NBA, suspensions have been handed down for the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Detroit Pistons. But the thing that matters for the Timberwolves tonight in their game against Denver, no Dante DiVincenzo and no Naz Reid. They've been suspended 1 game for the tussle at the Target Center, the brawl at the Bullseye, as it's been called. And they're not going to be there for a game against Denver. That's nationally televised, 9:00 tip-off tonight because Wolves fans and Nuggets fans love, the game starts at 8:00 for Nuggets fans, I guess, but everybody loves waiting until those Eastern Conference games are done to watch their team, right?
It's the worst thing the NBA does. They can't figure this part out. I don't get it.
I stagger the times. I don't understand it.
Can I I will tell you this. First of all, the fact that this thing got a nickname, this fight got a nickname, is the most overstated freaking thing. I remember watching it, or, you see the clips of it and highlights, and all of a sudden my phone's blowing up with text messages about what's going on, and social media is going crazy. And I remember watching it thinking, like, doesn't something like this happen once a month in the NBA? I didn't understand
that there were so many people and that it kind of flooded into the crowd.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that, but I'm watching this thing happen, and I was like, this feels like it's obviously not good. Don't fight. I'm not like condoning any of it, right? But it felt like it was being blown out of from what I saw to what I was like, this doesn't seem like that's that big of a deal. Like, it just got feisty. Oh, what's his face fights he gets in a fight once a week for Detroit. Like, I don't know. It just didn't feel like. So what my point is, I'm glad. I think these suspensions actually reflect the non-severity of what is being like dubbed as a nickname sort of fight. Like, this is not even close to Malice in the Palace or the Rumble in the Jungle, or you know what I'm saying?
Palace is a great nickname, by the way.
Just a great nickname, but also deserving of a nickname. That was insane what happened there. This was not insane. This was two guys who got into a tussle and tripped over some chairs because it just so happened to be close to where people were sitting. If this happened at mid-court, nothing happens. There's nothing that comes from this. So I was glad these suspensions reflect the non-severity of the fight or what the disagreement.
Imagine being that kid, by the way, who got in the middle of the scuffle somehow, and then all of a sudden you come out of that. First of all, you got a great story to tell. And then secondly, your dad could get courtside seats, so you're already rich. And then third of all, Alex Rodriguez comes over to give you a Naz Reid jersey.
Right.
Trifecta.
Yeah. Give a jersey to a kid who's got courtside seats, like he doesn't have one.
Hey man, please don't yell at us. Please.
No, I have the home Naz Reid jersey. Can I get the Road City edition, please?
Yeah, and in fact, could he sign it? By the way, the funnest part about the fight is that if you watch the replay, somebody, I think Wolves Lead on Twitter put this out there. As Naz and one of the assistant coaches and Dante walk to the tunnel, president of basketball operations, Tim Conley, is down there and dabs them up in the tunnel on their way to the locker room. Not like a, what are you doing? What are you, whatever. It's like a, yeah, like a, which is
I will say, I am not the sort of person who condones these sorts of things in any way, shape, or form, ever, for any reason. My walking contradiction is sometimes you need to have it.
Yeah.
I love that it was DiVincenzo. It seems like the right guy for the role. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's
him getting in a fight than Rudy, I think, is the biggest thing. Like,
it's annoying if it's Rudy. Yeah. I love that it's Naz. Like, Naz seems like a guy who doesn't get pushed to that sort of limit, and he did. And like, oh, you're just not going to do that to him. I think stuff like this, where it's not that serious, nobody got hurt. The suspensions are warranted. The NBA didn't overshoot on this. Like, it all seemed, even for the Detroit guys, those are, I think, fair suspensions for. I get all of it. It can be galvanizing, and I think it needs to be. And I think, and I hope that it is. I hope that that's the. I've been waiting for a thing to kind of allow the Timberwolves to take every night seriously, and maybe that was it.
Yeah.
Hopefully that was it.
The biggest thing about the Wolves is, and the Pistons learn this, when the Wolves are playing an Eastern Conference opponent that's not like the Cavs or the Celtics, they don't care. Mm-mm. And they were not caring in that first quarter.
Mm-mm.
In fact, the reason Naz was probably so frustrated was more just that they were playing bad, not necessarily that the Pistons were doing anything. And the Pistons decided to pretend that they were the bad boys. The Wolves beat them up in a fight and then beat them up on the court. Malik Beasley yelling, "He can't guard me." And then in the fourth quarter, bricking it off the side of the backboard when they needed a clutch shot.
Yeah.
So anyway,
what's Stewart gets in fights all the time.
Yeah.
This is a problem for I don't condone it, but I do condone standing up for yourself.
Right. And the Pistons tick the Wolves off to the point where the Wolves are like, okay, we're trying tonight. We're trying tonight to put you in your place. And then the Wolves ended up beating them by 20. And they had whatever. By the way, funniest part, I mentioned this with Zeke yesterday. Luke Walton got to pick a free throw shooter after all those texts. And he had to pick it off the bench. Rudy was on the court, so you couldn't pick Rudy. But he picks Luka Garza to shoot those free throws, and he drains both of them. Like, my guy, that is not the one to pick.
That guy scores 40 a game when he's in the G League.
Right, yeah.
And then what does he do? He makes the second free throw, immediately fouls on the inbounds pass, and walks right to the bench and sits down.
And then comes back in at the very end. Luka Garza minutes. When that shows up on your Twitter timeline, something's gone wrong.
His stats were, this is not a joke, 2 points, 0 minutes played.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Luka Garza.
We love him.
What's it? The Devin Booker heard about the Luka Doncic trade and went, Luka Garza? Like,
it made more sense.
Made more sense. All right. They play the Nuggets tonight. Mike Malone was complaining that the Wolves try hard against them. He's like, the Wolves, they only play hard against us or something like that. To hear Mike Malone talk about that about the Nuggets, you hear JJ Redick be like, man, when teams play us, all of a sudden all their stars play. Like, yeah, teams want to beat you guys. You're up in the standings. Like, what are you talking? It's this whole, like, everybody complains in the league that, like, oh, the stars are try-harding against us tonight. This or that. Like, what the heck happened? Like, what are we doing?
You're the barometer. If we can beat you, we can beat anybody.
Right. Teams want to try hard against you. I'm sorry.
Plus, it's fun. It's fun to have rivalries.
Mm-hmm. Well, and Mike Malone said, the Wolves treat it like a rivalry. We don't, which is like, cool, man. We beat you.
Yeah, it also is a rivalry, by the way. They're like 500.
Like it or not, it's a rivalry. These teams, Finch said it. He's like, we don't play as hard against Eastern Conference teams because we've played in the West now, and we've played in the playoffs where we've, like, built rivalries. We play hard against the West because we've played some of these teams in the playoffs. We know, like, we want to beat these, whatever. We don't have that built up in the East where, like, which is a little bit of an excuse, but a little, like, it's also true. Like,
Boston.
Yeah, except for Boston and Cleveland, like, because those two teams have been consistently good over the last few years. But yeah, it's whatever. So anyway, Wolves win tonight. I think they do.
Yeah, sure.
I think they do. I think Ant has not played a good game in a long time. Like a legitimately good, solid Anthony Edwards game. I wonder if tonight's the night. They got 8 games to go. They're a half game back out of the 6th spot. The Warriors down the stretch have a not favorable schedule. The Wolves after this play Brooklyn and Philadelphia.
Who wins by more, the Timberwolves or Twins? Literally point for point. A 1-for-1 a point.
You're applying the Twins win today?
Yes.
I say the Twins win like 3-2 if they're going to win today. So it's going to be like, it's going to be something ugly. It's going to be like a 2-1. They just squeaked it.
Jared said the Twins are going to win 9-1.
Yeah, he was very confident. It was very Daryl of him.
Do the Timberwolves win by more than 8 points or fewer than 8 points?
Ooh.
Let's use it up against Jared's numbers. What do you think?
I'm going to say Wolves by 10.
Wolves by 10. So you okay. I mean, that's the right pick.
If I'm going to pick any team to do anything, I'm going to pick the team that's
the correct choice.
pick the team that's beaten Denver on all 3 of their meetings so far this year.
I'll say Twins by 5, Wolves by 4.
Blazers in 6. All right. That's it. See you tomorrow.
Powered by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Follow the Morning Sports Desk on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And watch every show on YouTube.